In this video, we will show you how to use the test sendouts in IdRelay to increase the quality of your sendouts. This video will focus on the workflow of creating a sendout, editing the content, making a test sendout to your colleagues for proofreading, re-editing the content to fix typos and other mistakes, and resending the test sendouts, and finally sending the real sendout to your recipients. Okay, so let's start with a brief overview of the IdRelay system. This is actually the start page. This is where you will end up once you're logged into our system. It might not have these colors exactly in your installation, and you might even have a different logo on top. But the buttons and functions are the same as we will be showing you in this video. You can always get back to this page by clicking the Start option up here. So in IdRelay, we usually talk about 3 steps when working with sendouts. First, you need to collect information about your recipients. That's done in this area of IdRelay, recipients. Then you need to produce your content and your sendouts. That's done in sendouts. And finally, you probably want to follow up on your sendouts to find out who is reading your sendouts. And that's done under reports. So we're just going to skim through here and see. Recipients. This is where all the recipients are stored. As you can see, we have 3 lists here, but you might have many more. And if you're in a large corporation, you probably have lots of recipient lists, and you might even have folders. So this is a short list. It's only about 4 people on this list, and then you can go into that specific person, and you can see you can store more information about the recipient. You can actually have as many fields as you want. You're usually only required to have an email address, and of course you would need an email address to be able to send an email to them. There are several ways you can populate these lists with subscribers. You can enter subscribers manually. You would do that by just going into the list and create a new recipient. Save it. You could have a list connected to a subscription form on your website. Or if you're in a large corporation, you might have integrations to internal systems. In that case, you might see, when you go to edit a list, a comment like this, in which case you shouldn't make any changes to the list in IdRelay. You could also import recipients from a spreadsheet. In that case, you would go into your list and choose Import Recipients, and then upload your spreadsheet. And those addresses will be imported to your recipient list. Now that we have our recipients sorted, we can actually start creating content to send. And that is done under this area, sendouts. So I have an old sendout here that I haven't sent yet. So the only sendouts available in this list are the ones you're currently working with. As soon as you actually have sent them, they will move over to the reports. So in this area you will actually do the content editing. And you can walk through those 3 steps as many times as you'd like to get your sendout in a ready state. Once you've done and you sent your sendout, you can go to reports and follow up on your sendout. Under this menu you will find all the sendouts you've ever done. You can go into each and every one of those and see the detailed statistics. First an overview like this, and then on these numbers you can actually click and get the details. So for instance, there are 2 verified views. You can click these numbers and you'll actually see exactly who the recipients are and how many times they've read the sendout and at what time they read it the first time. that was just to give you a short intro to IdRelay. So we're going to go back to the recipients. We have our 3 lists for department X, Y, and Z. But we actually need another list. Because the video is about making test sendouts to your colleagues to make sure that somebody actually proofreads your email before you send it away to all the recipients. You know, once you've sent it, there's no way to get it back. You can't change anything. So you better test your sendouts before you actually send it to your real lists. So I'm going to create a new list. And I'm going to put in that list my colleagues that will help me proofread my sendouts before I send it. So I'm going to call this the proof list. And then I have to remember to check this box. It's a test list. And that's important because if you miss this step, you won't be able to send to this list in the test send stage later. So I save this one and I've created myself a new recipient list. Let's have a look. You can see he automatically put test list in front of the name I've chose, proof list. Okay, so I'm going to add a couple of people in the proof list. I'll actually add myself. And even if you don't have any colleagues that could help you proofread your sendouts, you should still always make test sendouts to yourself at least to make sure that the sendout looks great in a mail reader. Okay, so I have my test list here and I have 2 recipients in it. We're ready to create our new mail sendout. And this is actually going to be a newsletter for the employees of Department Y. So let's create a new mail sendout. I'll have to name it to something. I'll give it a subject. And I'll pick a template. You might have more templates, but we only have one in this test account. And now for the important part. This is where you add the recipients to this sendout. I'm going to add subscribers Department Y. Those are the ones I want to receive this sendout. It's important to not add the test list here, unless you want your proofreaders to receive a copy of the sendout when you do the sendout for all the other recipients. Sometimes we see that people only add the proof list here, their test list, and then they create a regular sendout for the test list. That's bad, because then you can't change the content of that sendout. Once you've sent it, you can't ever change it. So then you would have to make a copy of the sendout to be able to edit the content of it. And the whole reason for this test sendout is for you to have your colleagues to proofread this and to make changes. So I won't add the test list here. I'll just add the real list I actually want to receive this newsletter. Then this will take me into the editor, and I won't actually bore you with this, so we'll speed up the video here. Okay, so our sendout is done. We're gonna save this and continue. And we get a small overview of this sendout, the content of it. You can see what it's gonna look like. And you can also see here which subscribers you picked or which recipient lists and your subject. You can finalize and I'll end up in the list of sendouts. You can actually walk through this carousel as many times as you want. So the first step, where you can change the subjects and recipients list. You can go back into the editor. You can change stuff in your editor. And you can save it and you can come back to this overview and you can finalize it and you can walk around in that carousel as many times as it takes to get this sendout right. Now, let's say this is as good as it gets and you want to send it to your proof list or your test list to have your colleagues read it. Under Actions, you can actually open this menu. This is the actual option you use when you start the send out. We're not going to do that now because that would actually send this send out to all the recipients. Instead, we're going to go to test. We're going to pick our proof list we just created and send to that one. As you can see, as soon as that is done, we are taken to the reports area, and there's a new entry here, our newsletter for Department Y, and it's a test send out, as you can see. And this is actually just a full-blown report, just as a real send out, where you can actually open it up and see all the statistics for this test. So here you can actually monitor if your colleagues are actually proofreading your mail. And as you will see in a while here, this will change. Okay, let's see. Yes, someone has read it, and you can actually find out who it was as well. You can click this one. Well, it was me. Okay, so this is my send out, what it looks like in a mail reader. And I can see a very embarrassing typo. I have the wrong department here and the wrong year, so I have to fix that. So I'll go back to sendouts. I'll go into this carousel again, step 1, step 2. I can edit this. I save that, continue to finalize it, and then I'll just make another test send out again. I'll send that one. This time around I can see that I got it all right. I have no more embarrassing typos, so I'm done. I'm very happy. I can actually send this send out now. So I go back to sendouts and I'll start the send out. This will actually send it to the complete recipient list. And as you can see, as soon as I started, the status changed. I can no longer edit this send out, and it's waiting to be sent. Now you can see it's actually sending. Depending on how many recipients you have in your list, this might take a minute or two, or if you have a lot of recipients, it might take many minutes. Once it's done, it's actually disappearing from the sendouts because now it's not editable anymore. You can change it, so you find it under reports. Here you have our newsletter, Department Y, and you can see the previous sendouts we've made, 2 previous test sendouts, and the real one. And this looks just like the tests. You can see the complete statistics. You can see we have a total of 5 receivers on this recipient list, and no one has read it yet. Okay, I think that concludes this demo. If you have any questions about this and you're an IdRelay customer, please don't hesitate to contact our support. Or if you're a corporate user, please contact your administrator if you have any questions about your recipients lists and if they're integrated or not. I am sure they can help you with that. Thank you for watching.